Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, January 7th, 2014, and this is Day 9 Daily number 665, where we are under the sea, under the sea. Oh man, I have a green screen, as many of you know, and I love my room. I don't like being away from my room. So I green screen myself into my room, and it feels nice and cozy. But since I have a green screen, I may as well just do this episode under the sea. Why not? Am I right? Or am I right? Oh, so fantastic to be here. Maybe we can talk to some of the indigenous life. It's going to be excellent. Let me go ahead and mute the rest of these other applications that can potentially make noise. And then let me tell you what we're going to do today. It's Tuesday. I don't want to use these words because I want to make sure that there's more structure than just a single episode. But we're getting the year started, and Tuesdays, I want to do generally slightly more newbie-themed Tuesdays. I want to bridge the new player experience. Many people have New Year's resolutions, such as, I will play 5 ladder games a day. Just to note, that's great, and that's good. But that's also scary, and I want to be here to help. Now, first and foremost, we need to talk about New Year's resolutions. If your New Year's resolution is a goal, it's not a resolution. Your New Year's resolution must be an action. My New Year's resolution is to get in shape. That is not a New Year's resolution. That is not. If you said that you were going to get in shape, you are false. And if you think I said I was going to get in shape this year, you are false. New Year's resolution is about action. 5 letter games a day, perhaps. Or maybe even 3. Good. Ugh. Ugh. So what we're going to be doing right now in this episode is we're going to look at some very simple opening build orders from Crank, the Cranker, the team captain of Team Axiom, who is a Protoss player who traditionally is known for his insane, ridiculous cheeses and sometimes his cheese meltdowns, whereby which he tends to die. But that's, selling out the fact that Crank actually does some fantastically well thought out and well structured build orders that we're going to take a look at today. In part 1, we're going to look at a Protoss vs. Terran all-in. Part 2 is going to be the real juicy, meaty, delicious segment. We're going to see an easy way to play that involves lots of expanding. You'll even feel clever, you'll be safe, and you'll win. Wouldn't it be cool if I did a daily on some of the best strategies that still lose? No, that would be what I do when I play Hearthstone. Okay. Part 2 is going to be the good segment where we look at a really long-form game because Part 2 is the longest segment focused on gameplay. Part 3, we're going to look at a fun, fancy cheese into PVZs. And then we'll do questions. That sounds good. Tomorrow we're going to be doing the Hearthstone Dictacular. We're going to be taking a look at Strife Crow's legendary Druid. Thursday we'll do a daily, and Friday I'll play a game. In the top left corner, we have Acer Innovation. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to see a long-term build and you're watching on YouTube, skip to part 2. If you're here live, you have no choice but to hang out with me under the sea. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. And again, I'm one of those interesting seas that has a piano in the background. Oh, there's a cat castle. Look at that. But that's okay. I'm under the sea. Okay, here we go. Once upon a time, there was a fellow by the name of Acer's Innovation. Ah, yes, excellent. All the musics is turned up very well. Spawning in the top left corner of the slightly older version of Star Station, you'll note that there's like a base here and there's a base here. It doesn't count. This game was played on the 15th of December, so it's still quite recent, and even though the Star Station maps have changed, this is relevant enough that I'm still going to do it. So let's take a look at the opening from Crank. And we're going to say right now that what Crank is going to do is a Blink Stalker all-in. Now, I'm by no means saying that's how you should be planning. I'm saying it for your mental relaxation, that you do not watch this and go, but I don't know, there's so many paths, oh, what's gonna happen? It's a blink all in. But it will not begin as a blink all in. Most of the time when people think all in, they think of the game beginning, and at moment 0, the all-inner has already decided to all in. This can be used as a response all in. So we'll talk about some of those reasons why. One of them right now, for instance, is that a blink all in is quite good on this map because of the ease of force fielding this ramp. I can literally have a sentry right here and throw it down. On Cloud Kingdom, the ramp for the natural is quite a ways farther back. So it would be, for instance, less good to do a blink all in for that reason. But anyways, we're going to see Sir Crank begin to wall himself in. Immediately it's easy to say, well, why these wall-in patterns? Because any wall-in that's nearby the mineral field is very nice against factory drops. So if Hellions, say for instance, dropped here, they wouldn't be able to sneak through this path. You can even, for instance, build a cybernetics core here or here to make a full wall off to where he can never even sneak behind this path at all. Little things like that are excellent ways to solve some of our problems without changing our build. We just change our building placement. Now, as many of you love to do, there's often gas on 15. Crank, as we're seeing, is double gassing on 16. This is more of a way to focus on minerals. You're delaying your gas geysers. Ce n'est pas un problème. Spreading out the pylons, keeping a good warp in range. Notice that this is like the maximum amount of space coverage from the pylon range. Solving our problems with our building placement. Oh, Crank, a man after my own heart. Oh. Oh. Alright, Crank. Kudenku. What do you know, Joe? He's created himself the wall in the back. Now, this is an ugly wall. Anyone who's spent time with Legos is horrified at how not flush these angles are. Like, what is this little point here, there? Ugh. But again, factory-based aggression, things such as a Widow Mine drop. The Widow Mine comes here, and then he's like, I can't, I'm gonna go around. Good. Good. Now, here is the important moment for emphasizing what I was saying earlier. When is an all-in happening? Not shit. I said it wrong. I need to say it again. That was a golden moment right there. Oh, look. When does Crank decide to all in? Again, it's not at second 0. It's not before the game went on, but as we can see here, for a blink all in to be generally executed super properly, we would be putting 3 in each of these gas geysers to begin acquiring that gas as much as possible. But instead there's 2 in each gas geyser. Perfect! I mean, Crank hasn't seen anything. Crank honestly looks like he's doing a very standard little play. A very standard one indeed. He moves the probe up to do a little bit of scouting. He beelines it right on back. He's going to cancel the Zealot and build the Nexus, which is the most standard move in the history of PvT. But let me just note, Crank cut it close. He cut it real close. Now, if I were like a mom of a first grader, I might say something like, oh, you have to be more careful, that was a close call. But this is esports. Crank cuts it close because he knows how to live life on the edge. He's a tightrope walking, all-in blink cheesing motherfucker. So this is boss. This actually indicates swollen cojones of steel. So good. P.S. Take me seriously, I have a fish background. Alright. So this is definitely cutting it close. But now that it's up, we're going to see yet again more standard stuff. Look at this, 2 in each gas geyser, which gives us just enough gas to start a mothership core. And then subsequently gives us just enough gas to afford a stalker when we can. Now there is discussion about when to build this pylon, when to get this warp gate. Should the warp gate come first? Should the stalker come first? All that's fine. I don't care for the purposes of this show. A lot of the other times I do care, but right now I don't, because this is a relaxing, not high-level analysis. Just get them when you can. And here is the key merriment. A Reaper. A Reaper is what is spotted. We still see 2 in gas. Popping out of this next is going to be the Stalker. Great. Everything so far so good. Chrono boosting non-stop. On the probes. And then as that Stalker gets built, just slowly rallying dudes back into gas. Great. I mean, this couldn't look more normal. But here's where I want to stop ya. And I want to go ahead and take a look at camp innovation starting at the 2-minute mark. So, it might not seem like a big deal, but a Reaper is a big deal for Terran. It's a big investment. Big. It's a significant doozy when it comes to the remainder of your economy. So for instance, we see the moment where it was barracks, refinery. Ordinarily we'd want to be throwing down a good old command center here. But here's the Terran thought process, one that you will see almost all the time. Well, I spent minerals getting this refinery. I'm losing minerals by having 3 SCVs mine in the geyser. And that's so I can get gas up for this Reaper. But now I don't have enough minerals to quickly get 3 barracks. I'm going to say that again. I don't have enough minerals to get 3 barracks. I don't have enough minerals because I invested in gas. So being low on minerals means we have to use our gas to solve that problem.
Upgrade complete.
Now most Terrans are going to think they're so clever. Here comes, command center. And reactor. Aha! I spend a little gas on this reactor, and then I can build Marines 2 at a time. A reactor barracks is equivalent to 2 barracks without add-ons when it comes to Marine production.
Add-on complete.
So we see 2 Marines being produced at a time. Oh, I'm so clever. I'm even scouting him. Oh, I am so dastardly and wicked. So great. This is the important moment that I want you to witness with your face. Innovation has not had enough to get a 3rd barracks. A dog barked outside and I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? I think it's still barking. Hope that dog's okay. There was a dog. Oh, okay, I remember. Look. Terran doesn't have enough money to get that 3rd barracks because he invested in a Reaper. So that means he won't be able to get 2 barracks with Tech Lab to churn out double Marauders. He won't because he already has a reactor add-on to this barracks. Now technically, he could lift this barracks and get a Tech Lab add-on. Technically, he could throw caution to the wind, build a 3rd barracks, and completely screw up his economy. But both of those are just ugly things that put the Terran back. the benefit that you gain by having this reactor not attached to a barracks because you thought you were clever getting 2 tech labs, the benefit you gain is it does not outweigh the bad side of having that reactor naked. In other words, if you see a Reaper, you're almost guaranteed to be up against a 2 barracks Terran. I did a lot of analysis for this simple statement. If you are in Crank's shoes and you see this Reaper, you can be virtually guaranteed that you are up against a Terran player who is going 2 barracks, 1 with reactor, 1 with tech lab. So now that we've, by we I mean Crank, now that Crank has deduced that, he just goes for a Twilight Council. He's going to be going Blink. He leaves this Stalker in the main to repel the Reaper. He leaves this Mothership Core nearby the main to repel the Reaper. And you know what? The Reaper even spots the Twilight Council. Now, I know people love to talk about surprises and scouting and deceit and deception and all other sorts of things that sound wicked because they watched Mission Impossible. This looks like a bomb moment. Crap, Crank's evil, wicked plans have been spotted. But it doesn't matter. It's not about being a surprise. It's about the fact that there's no 3rd barracks to produce Marauders. So first, let's go to the Crank camp and watch Crank execute this build and how he does it. First and foremost, he does start Blink quickly, but most of the Chrono Boost is still going on to probes. See, look at this. There's the Chrono Boost on the probes. Chrono Boost on the probes. See, Chrono Boost, Chrono Boost. Believe me, I would never lie to you. No. Once we start to get close to 16 workers on these 2 Nexuses, then we begin to build extra gas geysers. And then you know what Crank does? He doesn't spend any more resources building units. Once he hits the magical 44 probes, he stops and just builds boatloads of gateways. And then I'll just show you him building all the more gateways. Look at this. He's even building underneath the scan. He's like revealing it. Goes up to 7 gaterwayers, and he's going to be doing this attack soon. Now I want to look at this one more time, because Crank is saying at this moment, oh, I've seen the Reaper. A Blink Stalker all-in is going to be very, very good. And when it happens, we'll take a look at exactly why it's good. But suffice to say for now, Crank's gone, oh, that's good, because he went for Reaper. And this is the moment where it gets scouted and all that. Here it comes. But then Crank moves forward with the Stalker. Why would he do this? Because he wants to get a secured scout with the Mothership Core. He's moving all his Stalkers out. And by all, I do mean both. He runs into these Marines, no problem. He's going to do a little micro-kiting, which Innovation doesn't want. Innovation wants to not kite. And this gives Crank a second opportunity to scout. The first opportunity was simply seeing the Reaper, and that was really juicy. But here, there's been no extra gateways made. 2 geysers have gone down at 7 minutes. Still reasonable. Crank still has plenty of time to abandon an all-in. He could simply add 2 gates and then a robo. He could add 2 gates and a forge. He could add 2 gates and build carriers. He still has time to do whatever he wants, right? But here, he darts in to see what he knew was there all the time. 2 barracks, 1 with reactor, 1 with tech lab. Now to flip it from the Innovation side of things, look at Innovation's money. I think you'll simply believe me if I tell you that Innovation is good at spending his money because he was a world champion. I mean, he's getting his upgrade stuffs, he's getting Marines and stuff, but this is just a really, this is about all he can afford. He hasn't been supply blocked. He's about to become, technically he hasn't been supply blocked for very long. Whatever. But now we can just see that Crank initially said, I'm going to go towards Blink and just make sure with this Mothership Core, alright, yeah, this fool is ready to get pounded. And although Innovation is no fool, he is indeed about to be pounded. And the gateways get built, and the gateways go up. Booply boopy doopy doopy bop. And it's not a fast blink. I in fact think that this is one of the only chrono boosts that has gone down on the blink. All the chronos really were down on the proba production. And in terms of a response, Innovation knows that it's a blink all in. I mean, he sees 1, 2, 3, 4 gateways. He sees stalkers outside of his front. He has marauders and a bunker back here. He has a bunker up here. He has 2 bunkers here. But once upon a time, I said the following words. A blink all in is good on this map because of how easy it is to force field this ramp. 7 gateways worth of pressure permits Crank to really jam himself far up to this backside and really threaten Innovation. I mean, he's still leaving all his stuff there, and I mean, Crank can see it. He sees all the Mariners. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, GG. Okay, there you go. Blink all-ins are fun as can be, and it's not an all-in that was done blindly. Those aren't even good time warps. This is just a facet of Innovation only having 2 barracks. And Crank having 7 gateways. My goodness, that was very close. Should you have the opportunity to kill this expansion, always kill the expansion, because no matter what, having a lead in bases is always the best lead in StarCraft 2. Don't you feel oh so devious? Now we've finished part 1 of this Under the Sea Daily, and when we return in part 2, we're going to take a look at a beautiful, non-all-in, easy-to-execute, boner-inducing Protoss vs. Zerg play from Axiom Crank. Stay tuned.